on Fridays when we talk about our community. Today's discourse is about communal living, key to grassroots development. I love the word communal.
Yeah.
Communal means, coming together and doing things, to for the progress of a particular community. It brings me to when we were growing up and we lived with our cousins, aunties, uncles, and some people you are not even related to. So
it's a large family.
It's a large family. And again, I don't know how my parents did it, feeding so many people at that time.
Some people are still doing it now.
Some people are doing it now.
And we give them, we salute you.
We salute you. Okay, joining us this morning is Hamzat Aziz. He's the chairman, Lagos State Community Development Advisory Council. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome once again. So can you tell us about you? What was growing up like? Where did you grow up?
Well, good morning once again, and thank you. I was born in Ayobo, in Ipaja, Ipaja LCDA, under Limosho local government.
Oh.
That was...
well, how many years ago, sir?
That was 74 years ago. To be precise, 15th of December, 1950. And I stayed there, attended my primary school there, the Salvation Army Primary School, Ayobo. And thereafter, I was moved to Agege, where I attended Ahmadiyya Secondary Commercial School in Orile Agege. Later, it became Sakatinobu Memorial High School. When I finished, I went to Muslim Teachers College, Surulere, then Lagos State Advanced Teachers College. Later, it became Lagos State College of Education. From there, we were moved to Ijaniki. We were the first set to be brought to Ijaniki. After that, I went to LASU for first and second degrees. So that's about my educational background. But when I finished my education, I started working at my alma mater.
As a teacher?
Sakatinobu Memorial High School.
Oh, okay.
And I stayed in Agege for a very long time.
As a teacher?
As a teacher.
So what subject did you teach?
I was teaching business studies.
Business
Though
studies.
I read political science.
Okay.
But my love for commercial studies actually made me to go into teaching of the subject, particularly when we didn't have enough teachers to take up those subjects.
Were you a disciplinarian, or were you a teacher that everyone loved?
Well, I wouldn't want to assess myself, but I can say that to the best of my ability, I did, and I was, and I am still one.
Okay. Let's look. Earlier when I started the show, I talked about communal living, and we hardly have that today. We have people, or families who have now adopted the term, mind your own business. So, and I know that this communal living was very, very popular in those days. So, what was communal living? What was it like?
In those good days, we live with parents, uncles, relations, even those that were not related with our parents were actually living with us. And the discipline of children then was the responsibility, not even of your parents, but of your uncles, your brothers, or whoever was around when an offense was committed. And that actually made discipline more effective then. people were being children were being disciplined. If you are going to school, if you were supposed to go to school and you loiter around and you are found at an odd time dragging feet where you shouldn't be, the person that will beat you to school, to your school, it may not be your relation at all.
And then you'll be praying that your parents should not even hear about
They
it.
must, if you dare tell them at home that you were beaten by a so-so person, because of what? Because you didn't go to school on time. One will get an additional one. And that is what it used to be. And in those days too, in your school, discipline was actually there. Your seniors were there to discipline you. It's not like these days when we no longer live with our relations. It's now a matter of me and my family, me and my wife, me and my children alone. You know, it's not really helping us. It was, that system is alien to our system, to our culture, and it's affecting us seriously.
So what would you say that are the factors that contributed to this change? What happened along the line?
How did we get here?
Imported culture. You know, some of the things we do these days were alien to our own system, our own culture. In those days, they talk of polygamy, they talk of family living with with their relations and so on. Nobody cares about others again. In those days, they cared more about the welfare of everybody because they wanted those family members to grow up together with their children and to be able to take care of their own children when they will not be available again. So that's one aspect. Another aspect that actually dealt with our disciplinarian system is this so-called human right. The child abuse, child whatever,
Child rights,
mental health.
mental health.
We had forgotten that our culture is not an Oyinbo culture. And we've used that to bastardize as culture and system. I remember some time ago in University of Lagos, they introduced dress code. And students were complying. Not long when that policy was introduced, some lawyers went to court and said human right was being abused, the children have their right, and they should be allowed to wear whatever they like. And that was how that system, that policy was totally destroyed. And you know, these are some of the things that eroded our culture and our system.
Because communal living and culture, they go
hand in hand. And we cannot do but see that those things are put in place. We are no longer doing them.
Okay. So how do we now go back to that? Despite
Or a refined way?
I think every family has to sit back because it has to start from individual homes. Each family has to do something about it from their own home to the school, then to the larger society. If we are not able to do that from home, it might be very difficult to enforce outside. These days, if you discipline a child that doesn't belong to you, one could be taken to court.
child abuse.
So these are the things that are making it more difficult for
discipline
to be instilled in our children these days.
Okay. Aside from discipline, it's just one of the aspects, but looking at other things from the way it used to be and now, would you say that our sense of community is weaker or stronger?
Very, very weak. When I was growing up, our dad would say, he would tell us, I like playing ball.
You use that.
And he will say,
most male children,
I will not debar you from going to play set this evening. But before you go, he will give an assignment to be completed before you can move to the field. And that is...
So it's give and take.
Yes. What are these assignments?
Okay.
If there is a portion of our road that is being taken over by erosion or water, he will say, you will go and channel that stagnant water and let it move away from where it is before you can go. So you will be forced to go and
have time to
you have to do it.
Do you even have the tools?
No, my point is, will you be able to go for your match again?
Yes, now. You will do it quickly.
You will be forced to do it quickly so as to meet up with your time. He knew before he said that assignment for you. And he knew you will finish it. But you have to go and do it. He will not run after you. It's you that will run after yourself. Even weeding of grown weeds. The assignment will be given. You will go and cut that grass, make sure that place is better, and you pack it. When you finish packing it, you can go and play your ball. So these are some of the things. From there, we started learning that within our community, we have responsibility of keeping our environment clean and neat. One doesn't need to wait for government to come and do it before we do those
one of the problems we're experiencing now.
Things. Construction of culverts used to be a thing that people will gather together and do. And that's part of the responsibility of communities. So in those days, all those things were not strange, they were not new, and they were not difficult, because they used to tell each other, we have to do this thing so as to make sure our environment is clean.
Yeah, for what you have just said, those duties were done out of passion and being responsible. Yes. We have some people today that I see, maybe one or two men that will try to, of course, it's for a fee. They try to mend some potholes, on our roads, and I don't understand how successful they get with it. But I know that sometimes when I see them, I do encourage them with, some, token. Yes. Talking about grassroots development now, how do we bring down the communal living we had in the past, and how would we now bring it to grassroots development, bringing the type of upbringing you talked about, and developing the grassroots?
As at now, we've been encouraging our members at the CDAs to go back to the basics and see how it was being done in those days that made the communities to be worthy of living. And we've been encouraging them to please start talking to our members at home, our families at home, that we should not wait until they are called to come and either clean, repair, or mend certain things that we were supposed to do free of charge. So this type of encouragement and sermon is actually working, and I believe with time, there will be a better response or better change from what they were being told.
All right, we are talking about my community, communal living, key to grassroots development. We will take our Lagos sense. You know what our Lagos sense is all about. When we return, the conversation continues.
Year ago, I was really facing the bus stop, and then this guy, they were about three, you know. So I was having the feeling that, and I was having my back, my bag on. So I heard the sound because the bus I was waiting for actually hadn't come yet. So he unzipped my bag, and when I heard the sound, it was still there. So unable for him to just withdraw the hand. So when I heard that, I said, "What are you really looking for?" He couldn't answer me. If it is money, I have books here, and my money is just inside my bag. So if you dig your hand there, it's like you pick books. And aren't you ready to go back to school? That was just my question. Then apparently there was one police woman there that said, "This boy, you will not leave this." So she came, and then I was now pleading,
Welcome back. It is still the conversation, and Lagos Sense there. You heard it for yourself.
Yeah, that was a resident, recounting his experience with a pickpocket, and he ended up
picking books.
I just told him that there's no money in this bag.
It's only books.
It's only books you are going to pick in this bag. And he even ended up, pleading for him with the police woman.
It's still part of communal living, because if everyone joins hands together to train up a child, But again, we'll still have with us in the studio, we'll call him Baba Musat Aziz, the chairman, Lagos State Community Development Advisory Council. And he has been talking about my community, communal living, key to grassroots development. So, Baba, while we were off air, you were telling us about an experience. So please share with us now.
As a student, that's hard.
In 1971, we were promoted to Form 4.
Okay.
And then we had to change our uniform from knicker to trousers. So a man who was relating with us like a brother now asked us to contribute money to help us get the stuff of that trousers. So we contributed that money. We were waiting for him to bring it on the day he promised. Honestly, we wait endlessly. Neither the trouser, the material, nor the money was seen till today.
So how did you eventually get the trouser?
We had to go and buy another one. by ourselves. So it was so strange to us that such a close person could do such a thing to small children like us. Because it's an elderly person. He was an elderly person.
What an experience.
Okay, as Chairman, Lagos State Community Development Advisory Council, do you collaborate with NGOs or international organizations and stakeholders in engaging in community development?
Yes, we do. We do. In fact, I want to commend the Lagos State Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Rural Development for making us to relate with some non-governmental organizations like University of Lagos. I want to acknowledge their input in the development of our members. When I say development, I'm talking of widening of our horizon about what community service should be and entails. So our members were being trained
in skills
such
as what?
Roles of community members, roles of community leaders. For instance, the last we had was the one they tagged shatter of demand. You see, as community members, you cannot have leaders, political representatives, and you have some things that are needed from either government or you want them to do without knowing the major ways of channeling your demands. So the process of channeling these demands are some of the things that program was all about. And the program, it was well laid out, and it has been of benefit to many of our communities as at now.
Okay, can you share one of those success stories with us?
Yes. We have this CDA, Ajegunle Ikorodu, that slum area along Ikorodu. When you are going to Ikorodu, that Ajegunle something, the CDA there prepared their needs, and they approached these needs they approached government with these needs and the various agencies that were in charge. And they kept on pressing and asking and coming to ask them for it. To the glory of God, as at now, the primary school they didn't have has been built. The secondary school was far off from their community. They have been given one. Their primary health center has been rehabilitated. These are some of the things they have benefited. In Oworoshoki side, they engaged some non-government and individuals, individuals. A military man came to their aid.
A single
person came to their aid and constructed or gave them bowl, very nice bowl, drinkable one, and they piped it to some of their zones, because water has been drinkable water has been a major problem challenge in that area. So these are some of the things we have benefited. And this was possible because they've been taught on how to, go to people who were supposed to do something for them and present their need. You cannot just wake up and say, I have this need, this is our major need today.
Yeah.
You have to mobilize your members. You will articulate your needs. You will all agree on what these needs are. You will see, possibly prepare a budget of what these needs are and approach whoever will be of assistance to you with your findings. This will encourage whoever wants to help to say, yes, these people actually knows what they are looking for.
Okay, building up on your answer to Adibimpe's question now. So how do we balance the traditional communal values with the contemporary societal changes? Because not all of them are totally bad. It has the good and bad side. So how do we balance them?
We have to, you know, operate the two simultaneously, because you cannot dump the traditional one, the existing one, for this new one. There are some areas where those ones are still very effective, like in our rural areas. In some of our rural areas, they are still being implemented. They are still being used. For instance, some of our members in Ekpe, there was a place we went in Ekpe. You know, what they did was that they identified what was their major need. And what was it? Making a canoe to transport their members from one point to the other at a very cheap rate. And this has been helping them. Besides that, they make sure that their younger ones and very energetic ones amongst them were helping the elderly ones anytime their assistance were needed. So that is why we cannot, you know, dump
Do away completely
the traditional one for this new system.
Okay, talking about grassroots development, I would like to have your say on yesterday's ruling of the Supreme Court about full
government.
Yes, full
Financial autonomy.
full financial autonomy to local government. What's your take on this?
Well, in Lagos State, it doesn't have any much difference to us, because to the best of our knowledge, Lagos has been, you know, allowing the local government to operate as expected. Even if there will be a minor adjustment, I don't think it's going to affect them as much as it will affect many other states. But having said that, I feel it's going to be of advantage to the local government administration. Don't forget that services of local government is mainly for the grassroots people.
Yeah.
And the local government could not have been if those grassroots communities are not there. So it is now left for the community members to now engage the local government very effectively and very well, so as to use the resources at their disposal. We've had instances where local government chairmen were saying that they were not given enough funds to execute their project. So now that the funds are now coming to them directly, I don't think they will have any excuse anymore in failing their various communities in the execution of projects. So I think it's a good development, and I pray that the operators will not disappoint their various communities.
All eyes on them now. All
Yes.
right. Okay, so growing up, what kind of songs did you listen to? Because you're going to sing for us today, Baba. So what kind of songs did you listen to? What's your favorite song?
Okay.
What type of music?
No,
Let's not
I
forget.
have so many, but I cherish one so much.
Which one?
That's Ayinde Bakare, the late Ayinde Bakare's song. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ màmá bàbá mi o, pẹ̀lú màmá mi o, oore tán ṣe fún mi ó pọ̀, mo dúpẹ́ o. Ìgbà tí bàbá mi lọ gbé ìyá mi, ó ṣe wàhálà, wọ́n náwó náírà o. Ìgbà tí màmá mi tó lóyún mi sínú, ni bàbá mi náwó lé mi lórí. Ó fowó wò mí dàgbà títí mo fi gbọ́njú. Ó sìn mí débi tẹ́rù ò ní bà mí. Oore tán ṣe fún mi ó pọ̀, mo dúpẹ́ o.
I like the
So I have to cherish my parents.
I like the
Yeah.
balance
Yeah.
between the mom
And
and,
the father.
and the dad. So before we go, I'd like you to advise, put there a word of advice to people on the benefits of communal living that, encourages grassroots development.
The first thing I want to say is that to our community members and residents as a whole, we should know that government alone cannot provide all our needs. As such, we have to come together as a body and play our own part. We should not leave everything to the community and felt that we are not concerned. This doesn't, for instance, let me cite one example. Issue of security. There are some residents that will not contribute to the token being paid to the guards, to the community guards.
And they enjoy the services.
Enjoy the services. And they will say, I have nothing to be stolen. But they have forgotten that their lives are there for those people to steal when they come to attack them. So it's very important for us to please come together, play our own part, contribute our little quota so as to develop our various communities. We can't leave everything to government. It's just too much. The resources are inadequate. So, but with our own little contributions, we can make the difference. So that's one. And then we should educate our members and our younger ones to imbibe the culture of community development. It's a passion. Honestly, they should see community service as service to humanity and to God. If we see it as such, then there will be some people are looking for what they will benefit first from the service. It's not about benefit. It's about your service to humanity.
And to God.
And to God that created you.
Thank you very much. Community development is a service to humanity and to God, according to Hamzat Aziz, the chairman, Lagos State Community Development Advisory Council, and he's been talking about communal living, the key to grassroots development. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, we'll go on another short break. When we come back, the program continues.